Welcome to Lexington, where the sun shines bright literally and figuratively on their old Kentucky home, and the Big Blue Nation ready to get behind these Wildcats in this one. A late-season top 25 matchup on hand with a couple of college football's premier teams preparing to square off. As we'll see the number 18 team in the country, the Missouri Tigers, taking on the 17th ranked team in the land, the Kentucky Wildcats. For EA Sports College Football, Reese Davis with you alongside David Pollack and Jesse Palmer. Time to get this game started. Missouri about to kick off to lift the lid on this one. He'll start the return inside his 5. Really disciplined job by the coverage unit to get down there and make the stop at the 19. So Kentucky's offense takes the field for the first time today. And here comes the quarterback, and one thing you know for sure, with this team, as he goes, so goes the offense.
And he's a big-time talent, Reese. This guy can hurt you in a multitude of ways, throwing and running the football. He's going to have to be dialed in, though, because this defense is going to give him a lot of different looks. It's really important mentally this QB is on his game.
Leaves it with the back. Finds a little bit of space, gets free to the 22. Didn't take long to need a clutch play on the opening drive. It's 3rd and 7. From the gun, wants to pass. Gets away. And the pressure gets him back at the 8-yard line.
And that is how you silence this raucous crowd. Defensively on the road. First drive of the game, setting the tone, getting a huge sack on 3rd down.
Kentucky will be forced to punt. 3 and out and not much choice but to get rid of the ball. Gets off his first one of the day. He was called on 5 times in the victory last week. And they'll get him on the ground as the offense comes out to start the next drive. The Tigers offense will go to work for the first time. When you have a weapon like this on the outside, and a guy in the secondary whose job is to take everything away, it's going to be a great matchup, guys.
It's so fun to see how you attack great safeties in the middle of the field. Are you willing?
Quarterback feeling that pressure, and he's knocked down in the 42.
And a great job by the defense, dropping in zone coverage, all eyes on the quarterback, taking away the options, and then finally the pass rush gets home, gets him on the ground.
That is the last thing you want on first down as an offensive sack. Now it's 2nd down. He's looking to throw. Quickly out to the tight end. And he'll make his way out of bounds after the solid pickup. Now facing a 3rd and long. Looking downfield, and he needs a bunch. He caught it! And he just kept running, and he ran away from the crowd, and he'll take it in. Touchdown, Tigers!
Now, a lot of times you see those receivers, as soon as they get by the DBs, you know, that hand goes straight up in the air. I got him. I got to step on him. He got to step on him, and the ball was thrown perfectly out in front. You can see he runs underneath it, gets it, and gets the long touchdown on the go route.
They'll try to add another to their lead. And he's got the extra point, and it's 7-0 to start this one. Quick strike offense on that 3-play scoring drive. And the points come on a pass from 39 yards out. Here's the return from inside his 10. Couldn't find a way to create that broken field as he stopped at the 25. Kentucky has it back, and the Big Blue offense takes the field. Wasting no time throwing on this drive. It's complete to the right. And a good job of coverage by that defense, just a short pickup. 2nd down coming up. He's looking to throw. Nothing to do with the football, and he just throws it away. It'll be third down. They line up, and it is a long way to the sticks from here. On third down, he drops to throw. And they get to the quarterback and knock him down back at the 16.
Well, after having 3 sacks in their last game, this offense knew they had to ID where this guy was going to line up every play, and they had to have an answer for him. Didn't have one there. He is so strong. He's so fast, and he just knows how to get home to the quarterback. He's got a sixth sense.
Kentucky sent out the punting unit. 3 and out, they got stuck in reverse. They hope the punt can bail them out. He only needs a sliver of daylight. And the returner will be dragged down. Missouri has the offense ready to go on the field. Jesse, a very productive drive last time, wound up with a touchdown.
Yeah, mixing and matching play calling really well. Nice balance on that last one, Dave. Let's see what they can do here in this next drive.
Yeah, and I don't expect anything different. When you put together a drive like that, I would do more of the same. Keep the pace, keep it going.
And he was able to run through 1 tackle, but still only a modest gain. If they can convert here, that type of play can really give you a shot of momentum. And he can't escape, and down he goes.
This is one of the things that makes this defense so tricky is they've got incredible speed at the inside linebacker position. Not only can they go sideline to sideline, run east-west, but they can run downhill on blitzes, and they can get to your quarterback.
So Missouri will have to punt it away. Getting our first look of the afternoon at the punter. Oh, this is a bad, bad shank. And the return man will have no chance as the ball sails out of bounds. Kentucky sends the offense back out onto the field. Quick release by the QB. And good coverage by the defense, just a short gain. Line getting set on second down. On the option. And he does a really nice job finding open space and making a good gain before the stop is made. Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. Third and short now. They snap it from their own 46. They'll try to get the first through the air. And the defense able to drag him down, but not before. They'll recycle that down marker. Here comes Kentucky after picking up that first down. Use the play fake, now to throw. It's complete to the left.
Guys out of the backfield now, it's not just run the ball downhill anymore. You got to be versatile. I got to be able to trust you in the pass game, and I got to be able to throw you the football, and you can do that right there. I know you're going to catch it, and I can depend on you.
A run up the middle is stopped for no gain. Defense trying to come up with a stop on third and short from the 37. Some early movement along the offensive line, and they'll walk it back.
False start offense.
So the decision has been made, and the coach will take the penalty. It's third down, and the line to gain is the 36. Got his man on the right. And he's going to be just short of the first down. It's going to bring up a decision for this coach. Man down on the play as the officials take a break to let him be checked out. And they're running out the kicker to give it a try. And this one will be a 57-yard attempt. He'll unleash it from the right hash. 57 yards out, and he powers it through the upright. We check in with Kevin Connors. What's going on, Kevin?
Week in and week out, guys, you never know what's going to happen in college football. Check this out. Minnesota is currently trailing in this one, but I've seen crazier things in Minneapolis. Trust me when I tell you that. On this field and off it, this game is not over. It's a touchdown game. They're trailing by 7 to Iowa. We promise to keep you posted on what goes down in this exciting college football matchup.
And how about that one? Kevin will be keeping an eye on everything going on elsewhere. Off-play action on first down. And the quarterback goes down at the 11-yard line.
And that's what I like most about this defense. When you try to take shots and make big plays, they get to the quarterback. They get him on the ground. Their third sack of the day. And this is a unit that ranks in the top 10 in sacks in the country.
After getting nothing done on the last one, this is a big play, 2nd and long from the 11. Goes to the option. He'll pitch it. Solid fundamentals on that tackle from this freshman. Not exactly the ideal situation for this offense. 3rd and long, back up inside their 20. Got the back over the middle. And he's not going to get there. The defense stands tall and makes the stop. Missouri will have to send out the punt team. This will be the 2nd time they've had to kick it away. Looking for a block. It's Thomas. Just a wall of defenders everywhere he looks, and he's guided out of bounds after a short return. Kentucky has it back, and the Big Blue offense takes the field. The give, and he's looking for room behind the left tackle. He's knocked down in the backfield. He'll lose a couple. After getting knocked back to open this drive, it's 2nd and 12. He's looking to throw. They're setting up the screen. They make the stop right there. Good pickup. It's still short of the 1st down. They have work in front of them on 3rd and short from the 42. From the gun, wants to pass. Makes his connection. 3rd down conversions are huge, and they've got one, and they're at the 35. 1st down, 10 yards to go. Looking to move it through the air. It's complete. And a good job in coverage there as they stop it after just a few. They'll line up for a 2nd down play. The play action fake. Trying to get to him. Quarterback feeling that pressure, and he's knocked down at the 42.
What a great job by this defense setting the tone early. In the 1st half, they've been hitting the quarterback early and often. Make him feel uncomfortable. Make him feel that pressure. Keep getting him on the ground. That's why they've built a lead.
This is a 3rd and long. Looking to throw, and he needs a chunk play. And the defense gets loose, bringing the heat, and down he goes again.
3rd and long situation, we're bringing an extra DB on the field, and we're telling our front guys to pin your ears back and go get the QB, and they get the job done.
Kentucky will be forced to punt. They'll look to pin him deep. And the punt hits ground at the 2 and goes into the end zone. He just missed, hitting them right in the shadow of the goalpost. It'll come out to the 20. Gets it out quickly. They stay aggressive and push their way out to the 33, and it's 1st down. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. Comes out throwing on 1st down. And this will be incomplete. A big hit there forces 2nd down. Couldn't make the connection last time. Let's see if they throw it again. He wants to pass it on 2nd down. Got away from trouble and got rid of it. Missed his receiver there. It's incomplete. 3rd down conversions are a huge stat, and this one would be a doozy if they can pull it off. Pressure coming. Finds his big tight end. They got him free for a big gainer down to the 43. And the Tigers come to the line in the hurry-up.
This is exactly why 3rd down is practiced every single day. 3rd and short, 3rd and medium, 3rd and long. It's money down for a reason. You got to lock in. Great success by the offense so far on 3rd down.
And after the tackle, we are headed to the end of the 1st quarter. That's the end of the quarter, and Missouri has the lead. And we've come to the end of the 1st as we take a moment to check out the stats so far. They've swapped ends of the field, and we're ready to go in the 2nd. The give to the tailback. And they make the tackle, but he has plenty for the 1st down. Mizzou coming out with a fresh set of downs. He'll pull it on the read. Not a whole lot of progress made there on the short run.
Yeah, and it's a nice job by this defense understanding, listen, that QB is a threat, and they're going to run all kinds of options, and he's going to run the football. They were dialed in and got that sucker to the ground.
Softened him up with a run. Now to throw. Stopped after making the catch. And just a short, safe pass play. They pick up a few. They'll snap it from the 28 in field goal range, but it's 3rd and short. From the gun, wants to pass. Bought a little time, lets it go. Can't make the connection on 3rd down thanks to that tough, hard-nosed pass defense, and now it's 4th down. Between the uprights, it's good.
Missouri 10, Kentucky 3.
They'll kick it away after putting up a field goal on that last drive. From inside the 10-yard line, he'll bring it back. Just keeps moving. Couldn't find a way to create that broken field as he stopped at the 25. Kentucky sends the offense back out onto the field. Looking for a physical attack from the gun. Tackle is made at the 28 after a pickup of 3. After the 3-yard pickup, they come to the line 2nd and 7. Receivers telling the quarterback what they see. They bring him down, and he's going to lose a yard on that one. Ball's at the 27. This offense facing a 3rd and long. From the gun, wants to pass. He lobs one high down the left side. Grabs it inside the 15. And they'll do more than move the chains. They'll move that thing more than 30 yards down the field before he's finally stopped.
When you're a playmaker like this guy is, your coaches are going to dial up plays intended for you, especially on 3rd down. That's what you saw in that last play. There was no question where the quarterback was going with that football. All week long, they decided on the biggest downs of this game, we're going to target our best player, and we're going to make sure that he gets looks. It doesn't matter what the coverage is, and you saw it right there on that play.
The freshman able to get home with the sack.
This poor quarterback has been running for his life. He has never been able to get his feet set, stare downfield, and try and pick this defense apart because he's constantly throwing with pressure in his face.
This offensive line has just been unable to keep them away from the quarterback. Now it's 2nd and long. He's looking to throw. Oh, looked upfield too soon and dropped the football, and it'll be 3rd down. I'm not positive, but that 1st down marker might be in the next county. On 3rd and long, a check down would be the last resort. Safe completion on the screen. Defense was not fooled by that screen to the back, and they'll stop him short of the marker. It'll be 4th down. They'll try to cap off this drive with a field goal. It's good. Easy call for the ref. After putting 3 on the board, the kickoff unit ready to go. On the run from inside his own 5. He was looking for some running room, but not much to be found as he stopped at the 18. Mizzou has it back in the offense coming out on the field. Guys, that last trip a little disappointing having to take the 3.
Yeah, and I think, Jesse, you see so many offenses talk about getting yards and the tempo and all the stuff they do. It was a nice job moving the football, but they got to get in the end zone this time.
Yeah, and I think to do that, they just got to be more physical at the point of attack, get some push up front. They need to be the best running team in this game to win.
They're getting this guy lathered up. He's dropped behind the line of scrimmage. That'll be a loss of 3. Last play was a near disaster, now dealing with 2nd and 13. Finds his man down the middle. He almost picked up the first down on that one, but he'll be just a little bit short. They've got it at the 41, third and short, trying to keep the chains moving. To the ground to try to move the chains. And he's to the 48-yard line. That'll be good enough for a first down. Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. Missouri really moving on offense, set up with another first down. He's looking to throw it. Fires into traffic. It's picked off. Trying to take it back. He's at the 10. And they capitalize not only on the pick, but on the great return to improve this field position.
Well, I love the job by the coaching staff there defensively, matching the personnel of the offense, putting their dime package out on the field. So you bring out the extra defensive back, you're anticipating a pass. Perfect timing to run that personnel, and you get the pick.
The big explosive play put him right on the edge, but you got to finish the deal. Keeping it on the ground on first and goal. And he takes it in for the score. Touchdown, Kentucky. Well, just as you would expect, that didn't take very long.
It didn't, Reese, and you've got to make great field position count. When you've got opportunities, you got to pay it off. And the offense took advantage, scoring a touchdown. Didn't have far to go, but they got the points they needed.
Getting set for the point after. And the extra point puts them up by a field goal. And for a quick update, let's go to Kevin Connors in the studio.
Terrific showdown this week, guys. Let's take a look at what's going on. Cal is trailing right now, but let's be honest. The program that turned out Aaron Rodgers should never be counted out of any game. It's a touchdown game. They're trailing by 7 to San Diego State. We'll circle back if anything changes in this exciting college football matchup.
Thanks for the update on that one, Kevin. Let us know when it goes final.
The trend continues for this offensive line from last week. They gave up 5 sacks last week. They've given up 4 today. The most important part of your offense is protecting that quarterback. They've got to do a better job.
They've already racked up big sack numbers. It's starting to snowball, and they are ready to go again. They'll run the option. He'll pitch it. He's loose at the 15. Good, solid tackle. Let's see what they have in the bag on third and short from their own 18. Defense didn't maintain its discipline there, and they get into the neutral zone. It'll cost them 5 yards. Defense couldn't quite hold its water, and it'll be 5 free yards for the O. Trying to find his man on first down. And it's incomplete. If you're going to take a hit like that, you might as well hang on to the ball. Here comes the offense on second down. Going to the ground. Picks his way and gets 4 out to the 27. Third down conversions, always a huge stat, and they've got a third and long from the 27. From the gun, wants to pass. Now adjusting. Going to try to get it himself. He is brought down, but man, what a job to find some running room and move the chains. The Tigers have it with a 1st and 10. He's going to pass. Oh, picked off. Going the other way, and he's got room. And with the interception, he'll take it all the way back. Touchdown, Wildcats. The DB saw it. He thought, don't drop it, don't drop it. Then thought, don't get caught, don't get caught. And he did the pick 6.
Hey, these guys can play offense, too. Now, look at this. I showed you I can be a wide receiver. Coach might split him out at wide receiver next week after making that big play. But defense, great job of making the interception. And you're right, doing something with it. Don't just slide down. Don't be content. Take that thing all the way back, brother.
Lining up to tack one more onto that lead. And he did make that extra point, no issue with the treacherous footing. They're lining up to kick it off after the pick six, and that defense will come out feeling it. And he takes this from inside the 5. Couldn't find a way to create that broken field as he stopped at the 25. Missouri has the offense ready to go on the field. The deficit here is just 10 points, David, so a chance to answer here.
Plenty of time left in this football game. No need to panic. This offense just has to put a couple drives together. And listen, the defense will get this back and get some stops, Palmer, and get you the football back.
And I think here too, David, you have an opportunity to keep the pressure on the opponent. Yeah, they just went down and scored, but you score here, and this game's still tight. You keep their feet to the fire, so an opportunity here to keep applying that pressure.
Not a whole lot of room there on that screen pass as it just never developed. They've made third down offense a key. It'll be tested on 3rd and long from the 28. Here he goes breaking the pocket. And this sophomore able to wreak some havoc and get the sack.
What a beautiful day for the defense. A sack for you, a sack for you. Everybody gets a sack. Everything good happening for this defense.
So Missouri will have to punt it away. He'll settle for some pretty good field position and make the fair catch at around the 35. Kentucky has it back, and the Big Blue offense takes the field. The give on the inside. And they'll bring him down after a short pickup. Didn't get much on first down. It's 2nd and 9. He's looking to throw. He's right on target. They'll get him down, but not before he crosses the 50. He's down to the 49. Out of the gun, the give to the back. You'll take this every time. 5 yards on the first down play. Split backs here. They'll run play action. Got a man. Ran through the tackle, and he's got room to run. They make the stop, but the sweet throwing catch is plenty to give him a first down.
This offense is clicking. Everything working together really well. Coordinator, quarterback, offensive line. Good rhythm, good flow. Defense is going to have to find something to kind of mess up this timing they got going on.
And the Wildcats look to keep this drive humming. Movement here from the tight end. They'll leave it with him. They get him stopped at the 26, but not before he picks up 5 yards. Halfway there on first down, it's 2nd and 5. He's looking to throw. Got it in the middle. It's Thomas. Excellent job working through the air there, finding a hole in that defense and picking up a first down. As we reach the 2-minute warning, they'll need to try to get a stop to keep this thing from getting out of hand. Zings it complete to the right. Good throwing catch. Takes it down to the 5 as the offense tries to cash in. Operating in the red zone here on 2nd down. And that's going to be incomplete. A lot of contact on the play, but no flags. It'll be 3rd down. Boy, they'd love to move the sticks here and take a shot at it on 1st and goal. Looking to throw it again. I don't think that's the way they drew it up. Incomplete. And here comes the field goal unit. This kicker has already made a couple today. And he'll try it from the right hash, and the angle shouldn't be too bad from this distance. Splits the uprights right down the middle. And now the lead is extended a little further. So after putting 3 on the board, the kickoff team is out there ready to boot it away. He'll bring it back from inside his 5. Really disciplined job by the coverage unit to get down there and make the stop at the 19. Mizzou has it back in the offense coming out on the field. Getting late here in the first. And they get to the quarterback and knock him down back at the 16. A timeout is called as this offense tries to find a way to get more points on the board before the half. Looking to throw on second down. Quickly to the tight end. Referee signals timeout as the defense wanting to make sure that they have everything just right with a big play coming. You make up the game plan and not a lot on the play sheet for this. 3rd and long from inside their own 20. On the move is the 30. He'll make a play on 3rd down. He's got enough for the first as they mark it at the 32. We've got a timeout here late in the first half, and they'll try to get more points on the board before the break. Complete. And they picked up 9 on 1st down. It'll bring up 2nd and short. Missouri gets to the line quickly. On 2nd down, wants to throw. Fakes the grab on the left. The offense burns its 3rd and final timeout of the half. The Tigers will snap it on 1st and 10. Coming after it. Unleashes one. Complete downfield. He will step out of bounds, but not before the big pickup and a 1st down for this offense. He wants to throw. Fires to the wideout. Got him downfield. And he's brought down after a nice gain. Down to the 16-yard line, it's 1st and 10. To the line quickly, they'll spike it to save some time. This offense has a 2nd down play. Motion trying to get the defense to show his hand. Getting some heat. That pressure got to him, and he just had to chuck it out of bounds. They were on the move, but 2 straight incompletions had them staring at 3rd and 10. From the gun, wants to pass. And he just throws it away on 3rd down. I don't think you can give up on a play like that. Here comes the field goal unit. It is good.
That makes the score Kentucky 23, Missouri 13.
That late in the half field goal always gives you a little boost going to the locker room, and they'll need to finish off these final few seconds and not allow them to answer. From inside his own 15, looking for room. Able to find enough room to get it out across the 25. He's brought down at the 26. The give to the back. And the defense stops him just short of the 1st down. Maybe needed a few more chain links to move the sticks. We've got a timeout in the waning seconds of the half. Maybe a chance to get off a couple more plays. The give to the running back from the shotgun. Turns it on in midfield. And he's running in the open. Just trucks through it. And he'll finish the run in the end zone. Touchdown, Wildcats. They've got the lead and trying to put this one in a hammerlock here in Week 10.
And I love this offense, man. Staying aggressive. Just because you got the lead, you know people can score points in bunches. This offense keeps the foot on the accelerator, scores again on the final play. Now this offense has even more of a cushion going into halftime.
PAT unit on the field. And with the extra point, they push the lead out a little further. That's the end of the 2nd quarter. That means it's time to join Kevin in our halftime update.
Thanks, guys. One of the best atmospheres in football, and we've got a fun one from Lexington. An entertaining first half, and we've got a multi-possession lead to break down thanks to the surgical precision of this offense. Might honestly take more time to talk about what didn't work than what did. The running game, the passing game, gadget plays have worked. Now it's just a matter of finishing the job. With that said, let's send it back to the guys at Kroger Field.
Kentucky teeing it up and ready to go here in the second half. And they desperately wanted to attempt a return, but decided not to. Instead, they'll take the touchback. Going to the run to start this second half. Not much doing there. He gets it to the 26, a gain of 1. Missouri wants to go fast. Looking to pass on second down. Quarterback moving out of the pocket. Picks up the first down and gets down to avoid contact. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs.
Nice job by the QB sitting back in the pocket. You can tell he wants to throw the football, go through his progressions. Nothing home, take off and slide. I love the slide at the end. Don't take a big shot.
Defense looks like they're about to bring the house. Got 3 on first down. It's 2nd and 7. He'll keep it himself. He's dropped behind the line of scrimmage. That'll be a loss of 3. And this offense is desperate to keep this drive alive, trailing by multiple possessions, and it's getting late. Trying to move the sticks on third down through the air. And the incomplete pass will bring up fourth down. Missouri will have to send out the punt team. Fourth. We've seen this guy come on to punt. Running it back, it's Thomas. Pretty solid coverage there, and they'll stop him at the 26. Kentucky sends the offense back out onto the field. He'll do it himself. They bring him down, and he's going to lose a yard on that one. Didn't get much done on that first play of the drive. It's 2nd and 11. Defense a little too jumpy there, and they got into the neutral zone too soon.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense.
The offense needed something, just anything, to give them just a little breathing room, and the defense provided it with that penalty. And they got him. They'll get him down for the sack.
If I'm the offensive coordinator, I'm thinking about chipping this defensive end with running backs. I'm leaving my tight ends in to help this tackle because we cannot block him. He's already got 2 sacks.
They line up with some serious work to do if they want to convert this one. On 3rd and long, he's going to have to turn one loose downfield. And this is dropped. Incomplete pass. He had a huge gain in his fingers, and he couldn't hold on. 4th down, and the punt team sends it the other way. He's got great speed. He'll get it up to about the 44-yard line before they slam the brakes on it. Missouri has the offense ready to go on the field. They'll throw it on 1st down. And he's all bottled up, and now it's worse. The ball's loose. Oh, look what I found. The offense keeps it.
Well, ball security doesn't just apply to running backs and receivers. QB's got to keep 2 hands on the ball as well. They're very lucky after that fumble that the offense jumped on.
You want to talk about hearts and throats when that ball was on the ground? The offense recovered its own fumble. And it's picked off for the 3rd time today.
What a nice play by the DB there. When that rain starts coming down, the ball gets a little bit heavier. The quarterback throws the ball a little bit lighter. DBs can take advantage sometimes of some underthrown balls, go out and make some big plays.
Kentucky has it back, and the Big Blue offense takes the field. After a punt on their last possession, they are set up in plus territory this time.
And honestly, it wouldn't have mattered if they scored a touchdown their last possession. You've got to be able to turn the page and see this as a brand new opportunity to go get points.
Yeah, and your defense has set you up for the position to get points right away. Now, let's get this offense back rolling again, create some momentum, just get a few first downs, and I'm in scoring position.
Coming to the line, looking for that first down on 3rd and short from the 29. Off the RPO, fire right, trying to convert. Put it right on him. Sweet play, good pickup, and they'll move the chains with the first down. Man down on the play as the officials take a break to let him be checked out. The Wildcats have it with a 1st and 10. Looking to move it through the air. He's got it on the run. That completion takes them down to the 7-yard line, and they are ready to strike. Going to work in the red zone, they can't pick up the first down without getting it into the end zone. Knocked down after a gain of 1, they'll mark it at the 6. Not a lot of ground to cover and not much to defend. A big 3rd down in the red zone. They'll try to pick up the first through the air. That pass not close as he got drilled trying to deliver it, and it'll bring up 4th down. Here comes the option. They stop him short of the marker, and they'll turn it over on downs.
And you could tell he trusted himself. He thought he could take off, get that first down. Just a little too much speed on that defense. They closed that gap so quick. Didn't let him get to the first down marker. Turnover on downs.
Gets it past the marker. And they'll finally get him down after a terrific pickup. From their own 18-yard line, it's first down. Quarterback now on the run, still looking. Just broke the tackle and still on his feet. He's going to be able to pick up a few yards before the slide. Now on 2nd down. He's looking to throw. Fires left. And he's lucky to get that one back. His junior quarterback knows better than to try that too often. Wow, this offense is doing nothing. They've already punted 4 times and staring at the possibility of a 5th. Another interception. That's his 4th of the day.
Well, we know these are slick conditions today in this game. Wide receiver just didn't seem to really get a good grasp on the ball when it hit his hands. Didn't stick right away. There was a bit of a bobble, and because of it, the defense able to come away with the pick.
Kentucky sends the offense back out onto the field. There have been a couple of missed opportunities for these offenses in the last couple of drives, Jesse.
And I think for this offense here, it'd be nice to hit an explosive play, be aggressive, and really pay off your defense's effort that last drive.
And instead of having to move the ball down the field consistently and then getting stopped on 4th downs, you're right. Create some of the explosives. Take those deep shots. Make those big plays.
They've got it 1st and 10 from the 25. On the option. Hard running there. Now the toss. And that's what this option will do to you. They got the pitch man free, and he was off to the races. On this 1st and goal, let's see what Kentucky does. Use the play fake, now to throw. He wants it all. Touchdown, Kentucky! And the beatdown has ensued.
One of the areas they really focused on with this receiver in the offseason was we need you to make more plays for us in the end zone. When we're taking shots, we need you to be able to step up and make tough catches. David, what a grab right there.
And I think a lot of that has to do with trusting your guy, knowing where he's going to be, knowing when he's going to sit down, when he's not, so being on the same page, and then having a guy that can go get it. Just when the ball is near him, he's going to make the play, just like he did right there for 6 points.
The kick is up and good, and put one more on the lead. And let's check in with Kevin Connors in the studio. Kevin?
All right, guys, a little update on what else is happening in college football this weekend. New Mexico State is ahead in this one. This team plays a hard-nosed brand of football there in Las Cruces, but they're a long way from closing this out. They're up by 11 over Nevada. For now, it's back to you fellas, but of course, if anything changes, you'll see it right here.
Oh, and how about that? I know Kevin and those guys will be keeping an eye on it for us. Give to the running back. Brought down at the 33, but not before he gets 10. Offense will try to get some momentum going on 1st and 10. Out of the gun, the inside handoff to the running back. And they try the middle of this stout defense, and they rise to the challenge. Got stuffed on 1st down. It's 2nd and 10. After the run, now to throw. And it'll be incomplete. This defense is physical and pass deep. When you've already sent your punter out 4 times, at least he knows he's going to get his varsity letter, and his leg might get a bigger workout if they don't convert. And he is corralled short of the line to gain. So Missouri will have to punt it away. They may have to pay him overtime. He's punting for the 5th time today. Good job by the coverage unit to put a stop to that return. Kentucky has it back, and the Big Blue offense takes the field. They'll try the run. They bring him down, and he's going to lose a yard on that one. Didn't get much done on that first play of the drive. It's 2nd and 11. Trying play action. And the ball comes out. What a disastrous play.
Woo. Deep breath, right? Man, you fumble that thing, you cough it up. You're like, oh, I really appreciate you, brother. I can't tell you how much I thank you, because the coaches would have been all over me, but big-time break for the offense.
This defense has kept them backed up. Now one more stop, and they can get off the field on 3rd and long. They'll run it from the gun. And sure, tackling there to keep him from getting to the 1st down marker. Kentucky sends out the punting unit. Doesn't say much for your drive when you're looking forward to the punt. Makes a move. And the punt team gets down there and gets the return man on the ground. Mizzou has it back, and the offense coming out on the field. From the gun, they'll try to impose their running game. Nowhere to run on that one. He loses 4 on the carry. Couldn't get him blocked on that last one. Now it's 2nd and 14. They go right back to him. And the freshman does a great job using his technique and getting the man on the ground. Guys, this offense is already reeling down multiple possessions. Really need to cash in on this drive. Finds a man in the middle. And he eluded the defense, and he'll take it all the way. Touchdown, Missouri!
Big-time players make big plays in big games, man. And it seems like each and every week when this guy has an opportunity in the end zone, he's coming up with the big one. That time, great job focusing and concentration. Defense not able to cover him. That's his now 10th receiving touchdown on the year.
How about this? A 2-point conversion coming. They'll try to blast their way in. He gets in there for the 2-point conversion, and now we have a 2-possession game. About to kick it away after scoring the touchdown.
37, Missouri, 21.
From inside his own 10, he'll try to help out their field position. He was hoping for something a little more dynamic, but they get him on the ground at the 20. From the gun, the ground game. Spins away from the defender. Followed that blocking and got 5 out to the 26. Halfway there on 1st down, it's 2nd and 5. Off the play fake. Fires one high and deep. Got it in stride inside the 20. And the tackle is made, but not before that completion gets them 30-plus.
It's a beautiful pass and catch. I love the job the quarterback does manipulating the defense with his eyes. He froze that safety, and that allowed his receiver more room to work his route.
The entire complexion of this possession changed on that one play. Now they've got it 1st and 10 inside the 20. The option look. And they're able to shove him to the turf as they stop him for a short gain. Going to work on second down in the red zone, and still some ground to cover to pick up that first down. Guys, that's the end of the quarter, and Kentucky has the lead. And as we switch ends of the field, let's take a quick look at the national rankings. One more quarter to go, and it looks as if we are ready to play. Second down coming up on this red zone opportunity. They think there's room to run to the right here. And he's brought down, but a flag is also down.
Holding.
Just an obvious holding call there, and one that just kills an offense's momentum. They try to pop a run on the draw. They bring him down, and he's going to lose a yard on that one. Let's see what they've dialed up on third and long from the 22. Out of the gun, the running back has it. Got some room, headed to the goal line. Touchdown, Kentucky! And the punishment has been extended. They extend this lead, and it looks as if they are going to make it 2 wins in a row.
You know, this offense knew coming into the season it was so important for this guy to stay healthy. They needed him week in, week out because he plays at such a high level, and he's showing it here. That last carry was his 10th rushing touchdown of the season.
They'll try to add another to their lead. And the extra point will tack another one onto this lead. A very efficient 5-play scoring drive. And it was capped with an explosive 22-yard run. And he's going to bring it out. Nice job by the kickoff team. Everybody stayed in their lanes, and they'll stop him at the 16. Missouri has the offense ready to go on the field. They'll come out on this drive and let it rip. He hurls one deep down the left side. And here's the 5th interception by this quarterback. He's out of bounds, showing off the hands on the pick, and then the nifty moves on a terrific return.
The number one objective for a defense is to make the offense one-dimensional. Well, when they're trailing by this much late in the game, they're one-dimensional. They have to pass the football. We can bring more speed on the field. You see it. We know you're throwing the football. Nice break on the football. Nice interception. This one's almost over.
The offense set for a first down play. They'll run it. And he finds some solid space, makes a nice game before the defense is able to stop him. They can really be aggressive after that last play. It's 2nd and 3. Pocket starts to collapse. Nowhere to go with the ball, and down he goes at the 39.
All right, this quarterback is going to have to start playing with a clock going off in his head. He knows he cannot hold on to the football too long with players like that getting after him.
A 3rd and long coming up here. They'll go to the ground. And he's not going to make it. The defense denying him the first down. His field goal unit getting some serious run. They've already been out there 3 times. The kicker will try it again. Right down the boulevard, it's good. And that lead grows even bigger.
Well, that kid just showed off his hammer for a leg, 50-plus, and he did it with ease.
That lead just keeps getting fatter, and this kickoff team doing a little running. Here he comes from inside his own 5. He was hoping for something a little more dynamic, but they get him on the ground at the 20. Mizzou has it back in the offense coming out on the field. Wants to throw on first down. Scrambling away. He'll pull it down. On the run, and he'll slide to avoid the hit. A nifty pickup there. And now on second down for this offense. He's looking to throw. Caught. And they knock him down, but he got past the line to gain. And this junior quarterback shows you why the scouts love that big arm of his. To the air on first down. With the catch, it's Sanchez. And the defense settled in to stop that one for a short gain. Let's see what they've got on second down. He's looking to throw. He's going for the big play. He's got it downfield for a huge gain. That is exactly what you want to do with the football. He's got it all the way down to the 15-yard line.
And this offense has got to kick it in high gear now. Making a big play, that is great, but we got to go up-tempo. We got to go fast. We're trailing big in this ball game. We got to put a lot of drives together and maybe even get lucky with an onside kick.
Missouri comes to the line with another first down. They'll run it out of the shotgun. And he's able to find a little bit of running room before they get him down. It'll be second down, and remember, they can pick up a first without scoring. On second down, wants to throw it. So close to that end zone. He could almost taste it, but it'll be first and goal for this offense. Defense is backed up. Shadow of the goalpost, trying to defend their own. Into the end zone he goes. Touchdown, Tigers. Precision blocking up front. Created the open lane, and the running back followed it beautifully.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to follow an offensive line that makes those holes and just gives you a caravan all the way to the end zone. What an unbelievable job blocking up front.
He'll try to tack on one more. Smashes it through for the PAT. Let's go to the studio now and check in with Kevin Connors. Kevin, what do you got?
A bit of an under-the-radar game this week, guys, but take a look at this. Cal is ahead in this one, but unlike the days of Aaron Rodgers, this has not been a blowout today in Berkeley. They're up by a field goal over San Diego State. Any big developments in this one, we've got you covered with the best studio team in the business. Gentlemen?
And how about that one? Kevin will be keeping an eye on everything going on elsewhere. Good spot after that 7-yard pickup on first down. It's 2nd and 3. On the option. Now the pitch. And they'll ride him down, but not before he picked up the first down. And how about the timing on that pitch? Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. Running back searching for a hole. And a pickup of 8 opens a world of opportunities on 2nd and 2. After the good pickup on first down, let's see if they keep it on the ground. Power football with the run. Tackled at the 45 after a 5-yard pickup. And the Wildcats have it with a 1st and 10. They're going to ride this running back. Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. After the 3-yard pickup, they come to the line 2nd and 7. They'll give it to the back. He's dropped behind the line of scrimmage. That'll be a loss of 3. Now facing a 3rd and long. To the ground with the back. Fighting off the defender. Strong belief in this running game as he powers his way ahead and picks up 8. It's 4th and 1. Kentucky will be forced to punt. They're up to a half-dozen kicks today. The punt goes out of bounds, and a nice job to get them backed up. I think they'll spot it right around the 15. Missouri has the offense ready to go on the field. They're going to throw it to start the drive. And the defense makes a play, sacking him back at the 10.
Man, this poor quarterback, he's got no time. You got to protect your quarterback. You got to find different ways to do it. Sometimes it's not working with 4 wide receivers. Maybe you bring in a couple tight ends, go max protection, more guys blocking, less guys in routes, but you got to find something to have success.
A first down sack can wreck a drive. Let's see what they've got on 2nd and 14. He's looking to throw. Steps away. He'll pull it down and run. Open space at the 25. He gets the job done, picking up the first down, then getting down. He's looking to throw it. He finds his man. They make the stop after the catch, and still some work to do to pick up that first down.
You know, at this point of the game, guys, trailing the way they are late in the game, check down throws are not going to get it done. You have got to be more aggressive in the passing game. You're going to have to just start taking shots.
And they wrap him up, but not before he gets enough on the catch for the first down.
I just love quarterbacks that aren't greedy and that aren't always trying to throw the home run ball, right? Second down, you're in your own.
And there was nowhere to go for this quarterback, and down he goes. Missouri gets to the line quickly. On second down, looking to throw. Quarterback extends the play. They bring him down, but a solid pickup to put them in position to pick up a first down. Man down on the play as the officials take a break to let him be checked out. Let's see what they do on third down. From the gun, wants to pass. They get to him as he throws. That pass is well off target. He got hit as he was trying to throw, and they can't convert on third down. On fourth down, looking to pass. Makes the grab, and it's plenty for the first down. And they reacted well to the completion, but it was too late to keep him from getting the first down.
That's a great example of the receiver knowing exactly where the first down marker is. He got the depth he needed to get, so once he was able to make the catch, he already knew he had it. Now, a fresh set of downs.
Offense gets set for second down. He's looking to throw. He's got him this time. They'll wrestle him down just short of the first down. I don't even think they're going to bring out the chains to measure this one. He'll just keep slinging it. Got it on the outside. It's Randall. He's out of bounds, but not before picking up enough for the first down. He's going to pass. Off the deflection, missed a great chance to force the turnover. Instead, it'll be second down. This defense just can't get off the field. The offense unstoppable. Unleashes one deep. He makes the catch in the end zone. Touchdown, Tigers.
And I think in the pre-snap, I think both of these guys were on the same page. They had a look defensively that let them know we can pitch this thing way down the field. I'm going to go run under it and make a big play for it.
Yeah, and when I'm the receiver, I'm like, I'm open, right? I'm going straight down the field. Throw me the football. I got the speed. I can beat this guy. You can tell they've done that so much in practice. They knew it was second nature, and they executed it perfectly.
And he makes the extra point. Precise, relentless execution on that 13-play scoring drive. They are running out of time here. They need to get the ball back. They'll line up for the onside kick. The 40! Defense trying to keep this offense from getting a line on who to block. And now the offense will come onto the field again. They'll run it to keep the clock moving. He's dropped behind the line of scrimmage. That'll be a loss of 3. Timeout called by the defense. It's their first of the half as they'll go to the sideline and try to make adjustments. And here comes the offense on second down. The give to the back. And a decent gain there before the defense makes the stop. Defense uses the timeout quickly, trying to get that ball back and preserve time for their offense. On third down, going up top. Gets it out fast. It's loose. Oh, looks as if the defense got it. And he's brought down, and this defense gets the ball back for its own.
Man, you go from perfect position of strength. I get to salt this clock away. I get to run this out. I'm going to win to, man, now I got to put my defense back on the field. And anything can happen, right, in football, and you can catch breaks. And so now you got to go out and earn it. You had this thing under wraps.
Mizzou has it back in the offense coming out on the field. They'll crank up this drive with the pass. And the heat gets there, and they get him down at the 14-yard line. Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. Second down here, and maybe they've got time to get one more snap off before the 2-minute warning. He's looking to throw. finds the tight end. And that defense doesn't allow a cutback, and they get him out of bounds after a short gain. It's third down now. They ought to be able to get off one more play before the 2-minute warning. And the freshman will chalk up a sack. We hit the 2-minute warning, and this offense is desperate to make something happen and do it in a hurry. Picked off. Made the play on the pick, was hoping to make one on the return. He'll have to settle for letting the offense pay it off from the 26.
And that's a really good job by the defense, understanding the situation of football. It's fourth down. It's late in the game. You got a multi-possession lead. Take away all the deep stuff. Make them force the football into coverage. They do, and they stamp this game.
Kentucky sends the offense back out onto the field. That fumble in plus territory just ruined that last drive, David.
Yeah, and those are frustrating when you got the offense moving a little bit and you put that thing on the deck, Jesse. But move on, reload, forget about it.
At the end of the day, it's just fundamental football, right? They practice it all week. 5 points of pressure. Every ball carrier has to have it. They just got to do a better job moving forward.
And they try the middle of this defense, and that is not happening. And the last thing they need is to squander this great field position facing a 3rd and long. They bring him down, and he's going to lose a yard on that one. Now on 4th down, they'll send out the field goal unit. He's going to try to punch one through from 45 yards away. He splits the uprights and puts 3 on the board. And that will extend their lead even further. So they're lining up to kick it off after that last drive. Put a 3 spot on the board, and now the defense will try to shut them down. On the move from inside is 5. And they'll bring him down to get the offense started on the next drive. This quarterback has to stay calm, cool, and collected and drive his team down for a score late in the 4th. And he is snowed under, sacked at the 7. Now they've got to hustle to the line and get set. Quickly gets everyone set. They spike it to stop the clock. Not exactly the ideal situation for this offense. 3rd and long, backed up inside their 20. Here's a throw downfield late. A sensational grab down the field there as they try to at least put a positive spin on the end of this game. Offense rushing to the line of scrimmage. Clock is stopped for the 1st down. They'll try to get it off quickly. He spikes it. Clock stops as they try to rally late. All wideouts, no backs. Dialing up a 2nd down pass play. And that's going to fall to the ground incomplete. That was a physical matchup there. 3rd down coming. From the gun, wants to pass. Pressure is effective from the defense. They knock him down just behind the midfield stripe at the 48. On 4th down, they'll throw for it. He lofts it high and deep down the left side. A huge gain on that one before he ran out of bounds, and he has the 1st down. And the Tigers come to the line with a fresh set of downs. They'll throw it on 1st down. Didn't have much of a choice there, but to get rid of it. Operating in the red zone here on 2nd down. He's looking to throw. Not much of a chance there. He just had to get rid of it to avoid the sack. And here we go. Final play of the game right here. 3rd and long, and he'll try to throw for it. And they got him. Didn't have much of a chance on that one, and a fitting way to put a capper on this game. Plenty plenty of fireworks in this one, a lot of points. They always talk about having the chalk last, and it seemed like whoever was on offense had the last laugh.
And it's amazing how much offenses have just boomed in college football. So good, so many ways to hurt you, and you saw both of these offenses put on a show today, Jess.
Dave, we talked to both of these coaching staffs, and their defensive coordinators were losing sleep all week. They knew this was going to be a tough task ahead of them. So much speed, so much firepower on both of these offenses. And man, we saw that here today.
That's going to do it for us. For Jesse Palmer, David Pollack, our entire broadcast team, I'm Reese Davis. This has been another presentation of EA Sports College Football.